because these students can, that we want everything that we can give these ESL students, but also it helps us as we move towards the ISTEP testing, which again, not only helps our school, but helps them. So we have Brenda Ward, which I know a lot of you know, but she's our ESL district coach for the entire corporation. And so very knowledgeable of what we need to do. And so I'm going to let her speak about these ILPs. ILPs, okay. Thanks, Brenda.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Hello, it's nice to see everybody so early in the morning. I'm driving through the rain to get here. But this first cover sheet is something that you can just tear off of here and kind of put in a plan book or put on a filing cabinet. So when you have those questions, you can say, what does Brenda do anyway? And, oh, she'll do presentations. I don't want one of those. How about classroom observation? I want her to see the student. I'll come and see students. I'll see lessons. I'll come and, you know, if you say, this little part isn't working for me, what can I do? Usually we brainstorm together, so it makes it, we can kind of come up with a good plan together. Modeling lessons, I usually try to come in and observe a few times, co-plan with you, and then we can teach a lesson together. I'll teach a lesson for you. I'll teach a part of a lesson for you, just depending on who your students are, what they need. So just keep those things in mind, and if you want just like an ongoing check-in, you're like, just keep coming in. I can do that too. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what I do. Now that for the ILPs, raise your hand if you remember these from last year. ILPs. Okay. These have been done for you in the past, and so nobody really even knew about them. But as we understand more of what the state wants and what is federally mandated for us, we understand that this is actually a tool for you to use, the ILP is. So we wanted you to have the autonomy in filling it out and saying exactly what you will do for your students. So, so somebody else isn't saying, oh, I'm sure they're using slower speech, you know, slower rate of speech, or I'm sure that they're using hands-on activities. Well, maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you talk really fast. You know, like you need to actually say what things you do and what things you're going to actively engage in to help your English learners. So, the ILP, what I'm going to do first is just show you how to get there on the share drive. So, first, and actually you can follow along on the very back sheet, flip it totally over. These are directions for how to get there, because I get lots of questions like, I can't find it. I know you showed me, but I can't find it. So first we go to the start button, click on there, then go up to computer, go there, go to the share drive, click there. I can do this in my sleep. LSC, District ELL, and then there's 4 folders. There's ILPs, ELP standards, which I'll come back and talk to you sometime about, AMAOs and lost links. You don't really need to worry about any of them. You can use these, but here's the ILP. Now, they have given permission for you to write and change and modify these right now, but after a certain amount of time, the technology department likes to cut you off from that, because they said with too many hands in there, there's too many things that could go wrong, files deleted, people trying to move things when they shouldn't, or something like that. I know that none of you will want to do that and spend so much time in there, but just saying that will happen at some point. The students who have been moved right here, this category, those are when they move from school to school in the elementary, or when they leave here. Sometimes they come back, so we can just pull their ILP back up and refresh it. So, okay, so you'll just go to Sunnyside. And then we have 5th grade level 5, 6th grade, and 6th grade level 5. Those level 5 students, I'm going to just go in and show you what that means. They don't need an ILP. but we are keeping one on them so that we can have better records, because after, there's a lot of records that we have to do that there's no place to keep those records. So if you're thinking, I don't see my student on here, I have a student and I don't see him on here, look in the level 5. Well, there we go. Look in the level 5s, and these are the 5th grade level 5 students. Okay? Now, if you're saying, I still don't see my student on here, I still don't see him. Anybody have one that they can't find? Okay, then we go to M1. That's a monitoring year. After they've had a level 5, scored a level 5 on lost links for 2 years in a row, then we are in a monitoring stage, and we monitor their progress just to make sure they don't need extra help in ESL or language help. So we have to monitor them for 2 years, and then they are released from the program. So, or dismissed, or I don't want to say released if you've read The Giver. That means they kill people. So they're dismissed from the program. So these are the students who have scored level 2 or level 5 for 2 years in a row, and this is their first year that we're monitoring them. So we go back. Here's the M1 and 2s are the next ones. And here are the grade 5 dismissed students. The folder is empty. So we have no students in 5th grade who have scored a level 5 for 2 years in a row and been monitored for 2 years. So just so you know that. Okay, so we're going to go back to the ones that we are going to do ILPs for. And that, I'm just working with 5th grade right now. Okay, we're going to go to 1, and you're going to see the ILP. You have that, that's the second. Pulling it up. Thinking. Maybe. There we go. And it's just a Word document. And it's just a fill in the blanks Word document. So you can tab over to, or actually you just click and X off things. This is slow. Here we go. It's not usually this slow.
Yes, it is.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It's early in the morning, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's waking up too. Okay. Now this part has all been done for you. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, that was big. Okay. Okay, this part's all been done for you, and it's when the ILP was created, and I just kind of went in last year and redid all of the ILPs. So that's what the date is, and my name is there. Sometimes you'll see other names there, and that's okay. It just tells you who started it. Gives basic information, name. Now this says Earhart, so that's something I need to go back and do, is say that they're all at Sunnyside, all those 5th graders. I need to go in there, and some people I've done that on. I think I started forgetting. But I updated all of these to their most current information. So you'll see that he first came in 3rd grade to LSC schools, and he was a level 1. And then he, in 3rd grade, when he took the annual Lost Links, the more meaty exam, this was just a placement test, that first one was. When he took the annual exam, he was still a level 1. So, and usually it takes like a year per level until like they get the 3s and 4s, and then it's really hard to push through some of those thresholds. But last year, in 4th grade, he took it in January, and these are his scores. So he went up to a level 3 overall. But this is a really good thing for you to look at for really good statistics on those students, because you'll see that in just 2 years ago, he was a level 1 in speaking, so he didn't say much 2 years ago. In listening, he wasn't so great either. Reading, he's still struggling. And writing, he's doing okay. So he's actually able to express himself better in writing than in speaking. Well, he's probably equal right now. Now, this isn't like, you know, it's like any data that we get. You take it and you use what you can, and then and you go from what you know to and what you're seeing and observing. So this is the part that can give you the background on the student. And this guy hasn't been here very long, so we can look at somebody else who's been here since kindergarten, and many times they're filled in all the way since kindergarten. So you can see, oh my goodness, she's been at a level 3 for 5 years. We're doing something with her this year. You know, that kind of thing. You can just really kind of set your goals and your sights on what to do. There's one other thing I want to tell you. Oh, for reading levels. Usually they say that level 4 students are reading at least 2 grade levels below where they're supposed to be. So think about that for level 3s. They're going to be even lower. Level 2s are even lower than that, and level 1s. And you'll see that when you see their levels, it will make sense to you. Okay, so that's just an explanation of the first page. And you don't need to really fill in anything on the first page. You can look at it though and use it. Okay, so what you're going to do is on the second page, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go in here, and this is a drop down, and I'm going to do this for Daniel's teacher. You're going to say he's grade 5. And then you see that all of these things are checked off. That's what last year's teacher said she was going to do for Daniel, and what she committed to, the accommodations she committed to. You're going to go in and you're going to say, I'm not omitting any assignments because I'm going to just modify assignments. So you can take that off. You just click on it to X, click on it to uncheck it. Speak slowly. It should be a goal for anyone who has ESL students, but it's a really hard one for all teachers because we have a lot to say and we need to say it fast because these periods are fast, and so just kind of be cognizant of that. So this tells you I told you this was a tool, and it can be a tool for you when you're thinking, gosh, I don't know. I wonder if there's something that I can do for grading. You can go back here and say, oh, I don't even know what a contract is. I need to call Brenda and see if she can come and explain to me what kind of contract she's talking about, or what kind of portfolio could be used for an English learner. And I'll come in and show you. Or you can say, I don't know what to do when I'm presenting subject area material for these students because it's all too hard for them. Then you can go over here and go, well, I guess if I gave them a study guide and notes ahead of time, that could help, and I'd simplify the notes. So it can give you ideas, and this can be a tool for you. But ultimately, for each student, you're going to go in and check off what you're going to do. Now, you're going to do this as a team because I don't want to take away your autonomy, but usually what's good for English learners, you and your teammate, I guess that's what you call each other, you and your teammate can decide what techniques you're going to do. Do you want to speak to that anymore?
Yeah, and sometimes I forget like team and partner because sometimes you have a super team, so it would be with that partner, so that STEM and humanities partner, that they would go together and then they would look at that child and say, okay, these are the accommodations we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and if there's a super team, the super team could be in on, like saying, some of the things that they've seen help those students, but then also the other super team members can go in and check out the ILPs when they're done. And you can go back and look at these at any time.
Yeah, especially because some of the teachers that have the super teams can work with those kids maybe during academic support, that sort of thing. So that would be good for them to see that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are all accommodations, and I need to scroll down a little more even. So that's grading, environment, presentation, Then we get down to the bottom. And these are I-STEP accommodations for LEP students. Now these yeses and nos right in here, these can be all checked yes, because then they, whatever they're taking for I-STEP, science or social studies, they would need the accommodations. We've decided for all level 1 through 4s, which anyone you'd be doing an ILP on, will be given all of the accommodations possible. Now, if we get to the I-STEP and you say, reading the test to this kid is going to totally mess him up, and you need to let Mr. Maxwell know that, and he can schedule the testing accordingly. But we would hate to say that we didn't put that down. We have to signify that we're going to do that from the beginning of the year, or we can't give that to them. We can't suddenly start giving them I-STEP accommodations if we haven't been making those accommodations all year. So you're going to say yes to all of these things. You're going to go in, say yes. These are drop downs, just so you see. Yes, no, exempt, yeah. We're just going to say yes, and then check all of these. Okay, are there questions about this part? All right, we're moving right along. Well, let me tell you some other interesting information. The first page, going back to the first page, sometimes you might see information that you're like, that's not right, that is incorrect. I know the person who created these, and she did like 1,200 of them, and she's very, very human, and so she does make mistakes. So, and she would not be offended if you wanted to change whatever you see that was wrong, but if you do see something wrong and you're like, I don't know, or something missing, if there's missing information, like this Earhart, you can go and change it to Sunnyside Middle School if you want to. If you don't, that's okay, but you need to tell me, hey, Daniel still says Earhart. And just drop me a quick email, and I will change it for you. But if you see something and it's easy like that and you want to just change it, that's fine. If you see a Earth Day that's wrong, which you probably wouldn't know those, but or just something that's incorrect and kind of screaming at you, then let me know and I'll change it for you. Or I'll get to the bottom of it. Okay, I wanted to show you a couple of others. We're going to save that. Okay. Oh, okay. Do you want to, this is good that this happened on this one. This happens a lot. Do you want to open a read-only copy? I wasn't really opening. Do you want to create a local copy and merge your changes later? I'm going to say that if you say create a local copy and and merge your changes later, it saves the changes. It just makes you think it's not going to. I've checked it. I know, because I'm like, no, I want that information. So I've checked it out on like 5 or 6 of them, and I go back like 20 minutes later, and the changes are still there. It's now available for editing, see? And then it says, you can't merge those, and you're like, oh, I've done all this work on Daniel. This has happened a lot to me. And so, okay, just say yes, and if we go in, we'll go to somebody else right now. We'll go back to him. Go to Alexandra. Okay, and see how I can just tab through there and fill in anything, which that's really nice. Yeah. Oh, here's something that I'm going to be chipping away at all year. This special education IEP, I'm going to take that off of there because of HIPAA, everybody shouldn't be able to, everybody can see the ILP because we're educators, but they shouldn't know that information just by looking at the ILP. So I will be taking all of those off of there. Okay, let's look at Alexandra. Okay, so you see in kindergarten she was level 1, first grade to a 3, and she's been a 4 for years. So if we just looked at that overall column, we would think she hasn't grown at all. Okay, well, if we look at speaking, look at that. She's been a 5 for 2 years in a row. That's good. We want her there. Listening, she's gone from a 5 to a 4 to a 5. So she's kind of hovering. Sounds like she's on the bubble there. Reading, she's gone down. So as the content got more difficult, she's showing that she's struggling. And I don't know her, if that is indicative of her. And then writing, she's kind of all over the place. So if you were really looking at that to analyze it and see where you should help her, what do you think you would do? It'd probably be in reading, right? You'd want to like really focus on her reading skills. Okay, we're going to go back to Daniel. Okay, see, it's faster now. Okay, where did I changed all of those to be checked, so it stays, but it doesn't feel like it will, and you'll feel like you want to call me, or call me bad names. So then I want to go to one other person, and these are all in alphabetical by last name. So, you know, at times people are like, can you just break it up into teams? And I really can't because I don't know that information. It would take more time than it was worth. Okay, I'm trying to think. I think it's this person, but I wanted to show you one. No. Well, I'll tell you what happens. What I did want to show you is that sometimes the overall level, we have some students in there that go level 5, or level 5, and then they go down to a 4 in the overall. And that's really sad because if they had had a level 5 one more year, then they would not have to be tested any longer. And that's better for our school district and better for the kid, you know, that they can just kind of get on with life and it says that they are fluent English proficient. Okay, the frequently asked questions. Why in the world do we have to do these? It's a Title III requirement that all teachers identify and make classroom accommodations for English learners 1 through 4. You're just basically saying what accommodations you're going to make. What are we supposed to do on the second page? On I-STEP and accommodations, you're checking them all, saying yes to everything. For levels 1 through 4. Level 5 students, you do nothing. You can just check it out. Some of the information is not correct. We've talked about that, about what to do. Okay, and how many of the classroom accommodations do we have to choose? Are there a certain amount or that type of thing? And I would say that you might want to go through each category, like the grading, and just say one of those at least that you're going to do. Pacing, one of those that you're going to really try to do. If you're like, oh, I'm going to do a lot of these, here, I'll go to that. Like reinforcement, oh, I'm doing all of those, that kind of thing. Okay, we're good? Okay, and will we have to do this every year? Yes, we have to do it every year. It's the expectation of the classroom teacher, and then the level 5s we've talked about. Are there any questions?
We have
yes.
a few good questions that
yes.
they want to ask me, but I think it would be good for the entire.
Go for it. I'm ready.
I know one was about acuity, like what do the elementaries do, or I mean, what's the practice as far as the acuity in accommodation? Accommodations.
We're trying to give the same accommodations that we're going to give on I-STEP during acuity because that shows the for real picture of what they can do with the accommodations provided.
Okay. And then the other question was about what's the easiest way to find out if the student is like a 1 to a 4 or 1 to a 5?
Okay, that's something I can help you out with. I can do a Power School search, and I could do just an overall, you mean the overall level?
Yes.
Okay, I can do a Power School search.
Jennifer can do that too.
For you.
I showed her, or she showed me how to do that, right?
Yeah, and I could even do it for teams of teachers. I just need to know the exact teams, and
okay.
and who wants that, and I can just kind of click on it, and I can do it.
Can you put that like attaching a document or something, like the steps to do that?
I don't know, I mean, for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that for you. But I think that it's different than Power Teacher.
Okay, all right,
So.
sounds good.
Yes.
It's on there, it's on there, it's on there. I can't remember exactly where,
I think
but
it's the accommodations button and it
yeah,
will
the
say
accommodations, it's on there.
or their level that is ESL.
It tells you the
Okay,
overall.
excellent. I don't have that Power
Yes,
Teacher.
I don't have Power Teacher either.
Yeah, so I don't
I'm
know.
gonna go in one of your rooms.
Yeah, it is. I do have a question. When are we need to have all these done by? What is the date that we need to have the information in?
That's a good question. What's your recommendation, like within,
Like,
I mean, October 1st? I mean, that's.
yeah,
2
October
weeks.
1st would be good. It really takes no time to do it. I mean, I say that because I've been in and I can fly through it. After you've done the first one or two, then you will know what accommodations you're saying that you're doing. Once you do it with your teammate, and then you can truly fly through them. Just click through it. And
The only other thing too is on your data board, the people that have data boards,
Jake Warren to the nurse.
you can actually put that on your data card. Because that would be a good thing to put,
That
like the
would be-
last links, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you can see them.
right.
So,
Right, and I don't know if you'd want all 5 scores, the reading, speaking, listening, writing, and overall, but sometimes that gives you a clearer picture, a better, broader picture. Yes?
Yeah, for like us, who's teaching a regular classroom,
Okay.
I know it's easy for us to know where our children are, we're gonna
Yes.
go, we're gonna find it, but when you think about if the computer teacher or the art teacher, that they are dealing with hundreds of students in any one given time, with maybe multiple names of Salazar, that, how are they gonna, there's no way they're gonna be able to go through, the shared drive and pick out each student that they have in that 9-week time. And then do they have to do it every 9 weeks?
They do not have to do the ILPs. This is
Okay.
for classroom teachers that teach the core content.
Do they have to make the accommodations?
They do need to make the accommodations. Great question.
Because I
So
know
somebody go in there.
They-
the health, especially the health teacher has lots of
Yes.
tests. So should she be reading those tests or?
Well, here's that's a great question. Good questions, thoughtful questions. Okay, so let's suppose you have a student, those level 1s and 2s that are just wide-eyed and like really not getting much of that you're saying. They will need a different test or to be tested in a different way, like an oral exam or, something. Level 3s and 4s, I say that we read it to them. If they like raise their hand and say, I don't get this one, and then you read the question to them. And then, you know how many times you like read the question to them and they're like, oh, that's what that means. You don't explain it anymore, you don't really do anymore, but it's kind of on an as-needed basis. So I don't think that you would need to take all level 3s and lump them over here, but just say, seriously, raise your hand and I'll come around, if you have questions. And let them know that you're willing to read some. And I would imagine that most of you would be willing to do that for your native English speakers too. So if they're like, I don't get this question. That's the first thing we do. We read the question to them and they're like, oh, that's all that is, or that type of thing. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? On whether to, does that answer your question?
Well, I'm just, the team might let especially the health teacher.
Yes, where there's more written work. And especially, the health teacher might want to just have that last page of accommodations and just be cognizant that these are the accommodations that they could be providing. And any that you think of that are not on here, they're okay to do. Any accommodation that you think, oh, this is going to really help this English learner, wonder why she didn't even put that on there. Just do it, and that's okay. Other questions? Yes?
There's a spot on the bottom of the accommodations for signature. Do we need to?
Yes. Yes. You have to print off and then make, or print it off, have 2 copies, and sign those. The content teachers do, because one of them goes into a binder and the other one goes into their cumulative folder.
And what about contacting parents to let them know this is, because I've written IEPs and it just seems very similar. Do we have to?
Yeah, no, we don't have to contact parents because we let them know. We send out a letter that tells them the student's level, and then it also tells them that they're being, their needs are being addressed in the content area. So, and if they have any questions to call. So, but this is really handy if they do call. You can say, well, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm doing that, and you can go right through and tell them. Yes.
So when you said keep it in a binder, that's to keep it in our room?
No, in a binder in the office. It's just one for the office. You
So we
probably
can
want
make
to
it
print one off for you too, yeah.
And where would
Yeah.
they put those? Like when they make those copies?
Well, it says here to give them to your administrator, but
Okay.
I volunteered you.
Okay, good, that's fine.
Okay.
Are there exceptions
I'll
to
get
that
the lesson.
October? My teammate is out for surgery.
Are there?
So is there a way we can contact you if we're not able to get, if she's not back by October 1? Or do I just go ahead and do it on my own for our team?
I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Maxwell?
If my teammate's not back by October 1st, is there?
Would you like her to go ahead and fill
I
out?
called Ginger. I called Ginger and talked to her, because she might even want to come in. They need to get you.
Okay. See you. Thank you very
everybody.
much.
Thank you.
Okay. If you have any questions, email.
Yeah, Sharon, because I know Ginger, you called her, she's like, been Everybody sign in.
We have all the same tests.
It could be, but part of the year.
Science series, ELL.
I was at a positive spin on this.
Well, this is my first year, and I'm experimenting. I'm seeing what maybe works, what doesn't work. But I don't know if you had already looked through those to see. I've been using some things. A little more simplified, a little more there on paper for you, or you're filling in. Maybe
One of my tricks about yes.
So-
So you know if you're looking concept, not how to use it. Yes.
I'm just trying to find my other. Sorry, I'm not trying.
I do have a question for you on acuity. First year Sunnyside, then we had this again.
Yeah, exactly.
Since I have a combination of
Have the same combination.
Yes.
You're welcome.
a lot of.
I'm good at finding
just-
things.
You know how, yes.
One time we read the acuity test, and one time we didn't.
And it seems to.
Should we,
I want to see him. I'll see him.
Okay.
when we search
Sounds
it up?
good.
Okay, good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank
We,
you.
I gotta talk to Tracy. I'm not saying, what I want to do and what I want to do is maybe, I gotta probably, but let me just turn that off.